What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Film Frat Podcast, episode 9.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. You know why? Because we're so close to double digits.
I know, that is kind of cool to think about. Yeah.
Episode 9.
That it made it to an episode 10. We did it.
Close. Hold on. Relax.
I won't get ahead of myself, but
relax.
I see it.
I see. It's like right in the distant future.
Yeah. We got 10 episodes of a podcast out.
Yeah.
But...
So, I mean, so far, so good. Again, episode 9. Let's focus on what we got today. And today we got a lot to talk about. We've been, again, like usual, racking up some stuff, things that need to be talked about, and kind of just some stuff that we've been just watching on our own, enjoying, you know, some stuff like, I don't know. I've been watching like things that I used to watch back when I was a kid for some reason. I've been on like the Disney grind.
Yeah.
Like I was watching, like I've watched Moana.
Okay.
I watched Lilo and Stitch, classic, right?
Classic, bro. One of my favorite animations ever.
Oh my God. I think honestly ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Just me.
I agree.
Hot take. I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't know. I think the story and I would say so.
Lilo and Stitch. Another one though, I think hands down my favorite movie all time, at least animated in the Disney realm. I know that I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it, but a Goofy movie.
A Goofy movie. I would consider that a classic as well.
Oh, absolutely. Because they have the Goofy movie, the original, and then they have like an extremely Goofy movie where Max goes to college. Okay. So those two goated. Okay. Hands down.
Which one is the one? Maybe it's both of them, but where he's rollerblading, like he's in the rollerblade competition.
Yeah. So that's the second one. Okay. So that's when he's all grown up. He goes to college, and then obviously Goofy being the dad, he kind of gets upset. He has to let his child go, which we never get a mention of his mom. Who's Max's mom? I don't know. Goofy has a wife or had a wife.
I would assume so.
I'd hope so.
Or maybe.
But yeah, so yeah, that's the one where they're like rollerblading. They have like the whole X Games thing where they're skating, there's bikes, and then there's rollerblading.
Yeah.
And then the original one's like he's younger, and then like they go on the camping trip, and like
I don't think I've seen that one, to be honest. I've seen the X Games one.
Oh really?
I haven't seen the original one.
I think this X Game ones is like more entertaining, but the first one just hits at home. I don't know why, dude. I remember being a little kid watching it on a VHS tape. I had the Goofy VHS tape. And he just goes camping with his dad. He's in love with this girl that he really wants to be with. So he puts on like this performance at school, like this cool concert. There's like this like Michael Jackson-esque kind of performer that he like looks up to. Okay. So he puts on this whole show where he's he tries to impress his crush, and he does. But instead of hanging out with his dad, like Goofy drags him to a camping trip during the summer, and he gets all butthurt and
dog blocking.
Exactly. So some of those movies I've just been watching. I've also seen like I don't know if you remember Avatar: The Last Airbender, Aang.
Yeah,
classic.
The series, right?
The series, yeah. I started rewatching that one. They're going to be releasing actually a sequel. Like I know they released. I don't know if you heard of Legend of Korra, which is like the sequel to the original Avatar. It's like a new Avatar. Well, now they're coming out with an actual like direct sequel to Aang, where he's now older. It's like him, Zuko, like Sokka, all of them.
That one is I am ashamed to say I've never finished Avatar.
You never finished Avatar?
I never have finished it, dude. But I started binging it during COVID.
Okay.
And I got really into it, bro. I haven't finished it yet. I need to finish it, but it is like I didn't realize what I was missing out on. Honestly, every time it came on, I'd kind of watch it, but I kind of like. But once I was like watching it during COVID, I see the appreciation for it. Yeah.
It's just like, honestly, that one is for sure ahead of its time. Yeah. Because the comedy is spot on. Like it's funny, not only for like kids, but for like our age. Like I go back and watch it. Hilarious. Yeah. Characters, amazing, lovable. The plot's great. Like the character developments with Aang and Zuko and like them becoming homies at the end and stuff.
And what's the brother's name? Is it?
For which brother?
It's Korra's brother.
So there's Katara's
and
brother.
Then it's Katara's brother.
Sokka.
That's what I was gonna. Okay.
That guy's funny, bro. Hands down, hilarious. And he's got like the boomerang. Yeah. So he's like he can't bend or anything. It's his sister who does the water bending, but he's just like this warrior, or he wants to be a warrior and just like be noble and super. Like it hands down must watch. So you got to finish it.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, some of the stuff I've just been watching. I'm sure you've been watching some stuff.
Yeah,
like
I've been watching some stuff. Not really like revisiting stuff too much, more like just stuff that's been on my watch list. Okay. I will say the first thing I want to mention though is this show that me and Mackenzie put me onto it. She's been trying to get me to watch it for a long time, and I finally like got through the first couple of episodes. Yeah. It's called Alice in Borderland.
Alice in Borderland.
Alice in Borderland.
So like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's a crazy show, bro. It's based off a manga. So
okay, so before you finish, not to cut you off, is it animated or live action?
It's live action.
Oh, sick. Okay.
But like I heard Mackenzie was telling me that she heard that people are saying it's like one of the best live action renditions of like of a manga that people have ever seen.
Right. Okay.
So it feels so much like an anime. Like it feels like
a live action.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good, dude. But so basically the story is kind of like I don't want to go too much into the story, honestly, but I will. I'll just say this. Okay. I'm going to tell the story. I don't know if I told you the story.
I don't think so.
But so we finally we finished the first season. We just finished the second season, and they just announced a third season of Alice in Borderland, which I'm so hyped on because I'm telling you, bro, this is probably like top 3 show for me now.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix? Okay, I'm going to have to check it out then.
And it kind of, I don't know if this is a reasoning, but it kind of came out around the same time as Squid Games.
Oh, okay.
And like Squid Games got all this hype. And hot take, people should have been watching Alice in Borderland, bro.
Yeah, not to get into it, I think it was mid.
I agree.
Like mid.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But going back to Alice in Borderland, so season 1, season 2, and there's a season 3, but the last episode, so this is the final episode of season 2. It's the finale. So we didn't know they were going to be making more episodes after this. We kind of thought it was going to wrap up, but they just announced more, which is dope. But
yeah.
So I'm really invested in this show. Like I was like very like emotionally attached to these characters. Like I was like, I looked really forward to watching like the episodes of the show. Like I was like, let's put this on. Like let's watch the next episode.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I was really invested in it. And so the last episode happens, and I'm not going to get into spoilers, obviously, because I really want people to watch the show and experience it. But there is something that happens where I'm like so attached to these characters where I'm like, oh my gosh, this person did this thing to them. So, like something just happened to this person. And I'm so emotionally invested and bad with blood that I literally stopped watching, looked at Mackenzie, said, I don't feel good.
You're kidding.
I said, I think I'm going to throw up. And then I said, I think I'm going to pass out. And I just was like, I got to get up. And then I walk around the coffee table, around our couch, go into the bathroom thinking I'm either going to go in the bathroom, throw up, or I'm either going to go to the bed and lay down.
Yeah.
I get down on one knee.
You're kidding.
And I look over Mackenzie. I'm like, I'm like, I know I'm going down. I'm like,
this is my time. That's it.
I'm going down. And I look at her, and then that's all I remember.
You blacked out?
I blacked out. I fainted. I straight up fainted.
Because of the show?
Because of the show,
oh my
bro.
God, bro. That's crazy.
I feel like such a wimp telling that story, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, it really had me that invested in it. Like, wow. I straight up fainted, and the next thing I remember is Mackenzie just holding my head. She's holding my head up. She's like, hey, like,
of course, such a Mackenzie response.
Yeah,
you good?
You okay? I was sweating, bro. It was but yeah, just that was a crazy experience. Right. I've never had that kind of reaction to watching anything in my entire life.
Dude, it sounds like you were there.
It felt like I was there. When I woke up, I was like, I just went through something.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, so the must watch from Curtis's list.
Highly recommend.
I'm gonna have to check it out then.
Highly recommend.
I'm gonna have to check it out. That's crazy.
Crazy.
So dude. You binge watched like you just?
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, we were through it super quick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, that's something I just recently watched. I don't know if you heard of Vinland Saga. Mm-mm. It's an anime. It's Netflix. I think Netflix owns the rights to it, but it's basically an anime. It takes place during like the 11th century, like 1000 AD or something. It's about like Vikings and like Denmark, Norway, England, like just that region of Europe, and it's crazy, bro. Like these Vikings going to war and
you said
politics.
It's an anime?
Yeah, it's called Vinland Saga, and there's like a lot of Norse mythology in it and stuff.
Interesting.
It's like action
like a different like setting for an anime.
It is, yeah. Like I'm saying, it's like it's all European. There's like France gets involved, England gets involved, Denmark, Norway, like all these different European nations, and it's like the Vikings go on these sails. Just so many motives. I don't want to get into it because it is actually really deep. The lore is crazy. The characters are badass, and at first the the animation studio that did the first couple seasons of Attack on Titan, they're the ones who took over this like anime, and then now it's switched over to the people who are like doing Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer, so like the animation's up there. Yeah,
that's dope, dude.
So I think that's when you should check. It's definitely recent. Okay. I think like season 1 came out a couple years ago, season 2 came out this year. So but it's good. That's like one I definitely binge watch. So you're saying you binge watch this one, like yeah, dude. Like, there's some good stuff coming out.
That's good, dude.
Honestly,
yeah.
And I don't know. I just watching stuff like that. Just it reminds me as to like why I decided to even want to do film or like at least get into like the creative, realm of stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember like younger watching all these films or even like video games and whatnot. Like I don't know for you specifically, but the reason I went back to watch these films and whatnot is just to get more inspiration or motivation as to like why I even got into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm always constantly watching movies, dude. Like it's just like, it kind of always keeps that drive for me to like, I want to make something like that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, so what influenced you?
Yeah, dude, because it was like, I mean, I started making videos, like short films and just like videos with Carter, my brother, and just like homies that would come over like from elementary school and stuff. Like,
I've been there.
Yeah, like in like when I was like 11 or 12 or something like that, super young. It was like one of my buddy's sisters. She was like making like these Indiana Jones like short films, and I've said before that I'm really into Indiana Jones. Of course he is.
So let's insert a picture of Curtis. Yeah, I don't know if you have
dressed up as an Indiana Jones at some point in my life, but yeah, it was like the fact that I was into Indiana Jones, and then she's making her own Indiana Jones movies. I was like, I can make my own Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, it just clicked.
That was like realization. I was like, okay, I have the whole world like is my playground right now. So as a kid, it definitely like. I was like, wow, that's dope. Yeah. And then like, as I got older, it kind of like, it always has kind of been adventure films, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future I really liked. It wasn't until later in life that horror movies were kind of like something that I really got into. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say like those classics like Indiana Jones, Star Wars. Star Wars was like, before I even got into filmmaking, I just was obsessed with Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Yeah. Would write my own books and stories like in even like kindergarten, bro. Like
really?
Yeah, like I've been into Star Wars for a long time. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, a big adventure and blockbuster kind of stuff, but like the classic, not the stuff necessarily. There are good stuff coming out now, but not like what we consider blockbusters now, like kind of the originals. But what about you? What's kind of the stuff you were watching growing up?
Yeah, so like again, like I said, just watching like these like kind of cult classics, like the whole Disney's and whatnot, and like I mentioned, Goofy movie and stuff like that. There's like TV shows and stuff that I used to watch. But what really interested me growing up, obviously, I loved like the creative, like the stories that came from like the Cartoon Network shows or Disney or Nickelodeon even. For me, the biggest thing that I loved was just like the collaboration part. Yeah, like just getting with your homies, because I also would make stupid YouTube videos with the homies after school, right? And just the dumb projects, like whether it's a short film, like quick shout out to the boys like Josh, Ramon, and all of them. We made this short horror film about like a killer, like that wears a pig mask. It was called El Puerco, and it was all in Spanish. So it was a Spanish short film where there's like, two kids running away from this killer who has a pig mask, and it was just the dumbest thing. That's right. So shout out to them, to the boys. But yeah, just the whole collaboration like process of just getting the people you have fun with and just making something stupid or funny, which is why I always love watching like Adam Sandler films or Seth Rogen films, Will Ferrell films, because they literally just get the homies together, and then 100%. They make a movie. Like, this is the end. Come on, bro. I had so much fun watching that because I'm like, dude, we could do that. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, those kinds of groups that there are in Hollywood are really cool to see. That like, oh, let's stick together and make movies that for us, for our group, like that we would want to see, kind of thing. I like that they have those like different like groups of creatives out there doing that thing. There's not like all solo stuff like, oh, I want to make my movie. No, let's make a movie that would be dope for all of us. Yeah. So going to like NAU, right? So we get to college and we enroll to do like the creative media and film, that stuff that we enrolled in and what our major was, I guess, or bachelor's. Did you find yourself actually like gaining the experience you wanted to like start making the stuff you wanted? I would say NAU was definitely like a great school. Like it really surpassed my expectations of what I thought I was going to provide.
Yeah, same actually. Yeah.
And I'd say what I took away from that school, I will always remember as far as like the storytelling, especially. I feel like I really like was able to hone in storytelling there, which wasn't really what I expected to like come out of with it. I think I was more expecting to be like more hands-on. Yeah. A little more with gear that the industry's using. But every school's got their own film class and film studies, so they all have it set up a little differently. But I think NAU did a really good job of honing in on just the craft of storytelling and really putting the focus into like, it's not all about this technical stuff. It's really, you got to have a good story first, and then go after that.
Yeah. And it's crazy you mentioned that, like the whole you were expecting hands-on experience. That really didn't come in until like years later being in the program, right?
Definitely,
like the first couple years was like literally learning about story, learning about like characters, like the psychology behind things, taking like screenwriting 101 with an interesting teacher.
How did you feel about that? Like that's how it was set up in the beginning. Like, did you think were you expecting to be more hands-on too?
Yeah, I was literally expecting like freshman year, like, okay, here's a camera and go, to an extent it kind of was like go shoot and stuff, but it wasn't necessarily like a concise kind of crew where you actually go in and make an actual project.
It was very like college films, you know, it was very, you're making a student film.
Pretty much. And it felt like it.
Which is fine. And I think at first I was frustrated a little bit with that, but I think as I realized that the storytelling thing was kind of clicking. I was like, I think I'll just like be a sponge and take what I can away from all this, obviously. So yeah, I loved the experience. Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely how I felt too. And like huge shout out to one of my favorite professors, Xin Yi. She was a screenwriting like god. She literally knew she like knew anything and everything about what needed to be in a script, like the characters. And she would mention things that were so common sense, but you didn't really think about because you're like, writing a script is sometimes difficult, bro. You get to a part where you hit just a block and you like can't get past whatever your idea is. She would just come up to you and she'd be like, well, have you thought of this? And it's like the most simplest like thing that you could change on your script.
Yeah, she was like a very like I don't know how to say it, like like psychological teacher kind of like it was more about like extracting things from people instead of like trying to tell them how to do it. Like
exactly
take from your experiences, take from like she was very good about it. I would say my top teacher.
Up there. And like, bro, I remember one time she's like, you got to get to know your characters. Spend a week with them. I'm like, how do you spend a week with your like people you don't know? She's like, that's the whole point. You get to know them.
Yeah. You ask them questions. What? You have to ask them questions, and you're like, you have to ask made up people questions.
Yeah, I'm like,
it makes sense though. You got to get to. It
does.
Because then it translates better to like real life.
That's the thing. And honestly, that was like some of my favorite parts of like just the film school experience in general. Obviously going through this program, like we had to wear like different hats, like, be director, producer, like sound. So what was like your favorite kind of role?
Yeah, I think I've always just kind of been like obsessed with the whole process of filmmaking, like liked it from start to finish, but I always saw myself as like editing was kind of my thing that I was like drawn to the most, that I just saw myself doing the most and always felt like I was doing all the time. So I had a really good editing teacher, Eric Lynch.
Oh yeah, I remember him. I never took his class, but I knew who that was.
He was amazing. He was amazing. He was also one of my top teachers. I had a great class with him, but he taught me a lot about just different techniques, like cutting to cutting to the eye, just like pacing, just like really like just not being too technical about it and really like having a feeling about something instead of just like, oh, this is when you should cut or this is when you should like. It's really you gotta know yourself too as an editor. Like everyone's kind of got their own thumbprint when it comes to taking video or editing. Yeah, like our clip, like me and Alex, we edit clips for Film Frat, like and they're similar, but they kind of got their different tastes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like so everyone's got like their own like thumbprint when it comes to anything. So it's kind of like I feel like it's so hard to say like. Film like this, edit like this.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So editing definitely you think is like the role that you kind of like leaned into the most.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What was the least favorite? Because there's some that I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. Not because there's anything wrong with it, obviously, but it just wasn't for you.
That's a good question. I would say going into it, my least favorite was honestly the actual production side of things and actually filming things.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was like being on set?
Like which was just like because I was always like along with my friends, I was always the one editing the movies. They were like,
no, for sure.
If they were coming to our house, we were making a movie. And so it was like I was always editing, but I didn't like the filming part for some reason. I felt like it was hard to like coordinate everyone and like get everyone like how I wanted to be and stuff. So
no, I get that.
I've learned to like it though because it's what gets me away from editing now, like being away from a computer. So I've learned to like it a lot. But what about you, bro? What was your favorite? Well, okay, so going into it, I always thought like director.
You know, I feel like a lot of people just want to have that role, which it's like, honestly, being a director is so many roles in one. It's not just one thing. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's so much you need to focus on. And me going into it, I was like, yeah, I want to direct. Like, I want to set the things in motion, set the plans. But really, when I got actually into it, I think what drew me in the most is probably the cinematography. Lighting was super cool. I honestly think lighting's underrated. Yeah. Like I did like gaff work, like I think my senior year, especially for my capstone film. And dude, it was insane. Like just playing with color and seeing how it manipulates the story and stuff. I know I'm getting super technical into it, but
you guys, I remember seeing it. It turned out really good, dude. Yeah. And it takes those techniques to like.
It does.
Yeah. It definitely.
Like creating fake moonlight and stuff like seems kind of simple, but it like there's so much that you take into consideration. So like gaffing, lighting, I loved producing. I don't know, like I'm super organized as is. So I love like saying, okay, here's a game plan, like creating game plans. Like we got to be here. We got to do this. This is who we have to contact. This is what we need in order. Like just stuff like that. Just how my brain works.
We had a producing class together, right? We took that together. Right?
Yeah, we did. Yes, we did.
I love that class. I thought that was a cool class.
I forgot her name, the professor, because this was her first year teaching that class.
Yeah, she was really good though.
And then we actually ended up working on a script from a guy who actually worked on the movie Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know why that was such a weird like.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, do you remember that? He did I don't know if he did like the GFX or something on that film, but we ended up like.
But he wrote his own script.
He wrote his own like short film script that was submitted.
That we were like producing.
Yeah, we were producing for him, which it's always cool to see like how producers think and what it takes for the scheduling, the budgeting. Yeah, I like working with numbers.
That was really
personally.
interesting to me. Honestly. Yeah, I learned a lot in that class.
Yeah, so like working with numbers is something I like. Like doing the math behind it. I know it sounds boring, but dude, I'm like, okay, here's the budget. This is how much we got to spend. That's good, dude.
Like, you need that.
Yeah, dude, I think it's important. So just like that part of it. My least favorite though, I think, and it's super integral and very needed, like sound. I just for some reason always had an issue with sound. I don't know if it was just because I'm bad at it. Like I can kind of by ear think, okay, this is the level we need to be at. And obviously like there's certain decibels you need to reach and what you shouldn't go over. But just like knowing which mic you need or like having the boom mic or having to actually constantly listen and look at your levels. Like I just wasn't that like tedious, you know?
I think a lot of people would agree with you. I think a lot of people would agree with you that audio is kind of like their last thought, you know?
But the thing is, like, if you get a great film that's shot perfectly lit, everything blocking, but the sound is trash, just scrap the whole thing.
It's just as bad as if the video was bad.
Yeah. Like, so it's such an important thing, and I was just bad at it.
No, it is one of those things. I agree with you where audio is kind of like you want to overlook it because you just don't want to think about it. However, I did kind of think Foley was kind of interesting.
Foley was cool, bro, because you can get creative with how you make the actual sound.
Yeah, because you can make the scene sound, like you could have a whole thing that you filmed. None of the sounds were in there in the original part, and then you get to literally create the sounds. Like, that's dope. I like that.
That is super dope.
Yeah, just another part of the creative process. Yeah.
Literally. But yeah, so much went into that 4 years of the process of learning, film and whatnot. And again, like we were mentioning, there's so much that we learned and picked up on. And it's a fun industry. It probably seems a little, not that we've broken into it just yet, but it does seem super stressful, and you kind of got to know what you're doing. Yeah.
It's not easy to navigate, but it is fun to navigate. Yeah, for sure.
And although in my opinion, we learned a lot. There's so much information that was taught, and that we had to learn. But one thing, shout out to Professor Kurt Lancaster. I don't know if you remember him. Oh yeah. He dropped a crazy quote, and he's like, "You learn the rules so that way you can break them." I'm like, that's crazy. There you go, dude. Like, I don't know where he got that from.
That's where we met in his class.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was I forgot what, like beginner to filmmaker
first
or something.
Class, yeah,
it was my first class of freshman year ever.
Same.
So
yeah,
and now we're here.
Shout out.
So yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, he dropped that quote, and I'm like, that's tough.
That is
tough.
Shout out Kurt.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about two of the biggest films that were anticipated for this year, a double feature. I'm talking about Barbenheimer. Right, and you saw everywhere people like literally dressing up as Barbie or going in the classic World War II outfits to go watch both films same day.
It's the biggest event of the year.
Literally. Yeah.
And for a second,
it was everywhere.
Yeah, it was.
Like I said, double feature. People would just go watch it back to back, which honestly is kind of interesting because they're like polar opposites.
I know. I think that's what maybe that's what drew people a little bit to it. That they get like two completely different experiences out of the two. But yeah, it was definitely like good for those two movies. Like, that helped their box office numbers. I'm sure.
I'm sure. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I'm sure they racked in some cash
for sure.
I didn't get to watch Barbie, but I did watch Oppenheimer. Did you watch Oppenheimer?
I did not watch Oppenheimer.
Well, you missed a lot because it's a long movie.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan did a great job. It was like 3 hours. I want to say it didn't feel like 3 hours. Lately, these like longer films don't feel like long films.
Yeah, they've been doing a better job of filling the space. For sure.
And the pacing and stuff. It does. Okay, actually, I will admit the pacing towards the last part of this film did drag on a little, which I'll touch on. I liked Oppenheimer. It's definitely like a big brain film. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of physics that goes into it, a lot of politics, science, catastrophe, obviously, with the topic of the film. The father of the atomic bomb, Robert Oppenheimer. It's basically a biopic of his life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously it surrounds the topic of making the bomb. Yeah. However, it's not just about that. There's like this twin parallel kind of story arc between him and then Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Okay.
What's his?
Is he a lead in the movie, Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. He is also a lead. Like I said, there's like this weird parallel where it's a story of Robert Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy. By the way, I mispronounced his name last episode. I said Cillian. I feel stupid, so my apologies to Cillian Murphy. But so Robert Oppenheimer, you get his backstory of when he's younger, he's going to school, right? He goes to Europe to study, and he's learning about physics, and he's really interested in like dying stars, right? And like the astronomy of it. So like what happens to the condensed energy of the dying star, and how much force and energy does it produce, and all that good stuff. So this is way before like this whole project happened, before like World War II even starts.
Was this before he was even like a scientist, or
he's like a student? Okay, right. But he is a scientist.
Gotcha.
Right. Profession, I don't remember if he's a professional scientist working on something. I don't think so. But he goes to America to teach a course. I forgot which school it was, but he went to go teach teach a school course on like the dying star, basically. Okay. And he gains, like, it's a small classroom, and basically teaching all these students about what it means with the quantum physics and kind of the science behind it. And the next thing you know, Germany invades Poland, and now World War II starts. So then that's where you kind of have him get recruited to create this bomb, because at the time, I don't want to get into the whole history lesson of it, but there's a race between Germany and the US about who's going to create a bomb that could potentially end the world. Okay.
So I have a quick question.
Sure.
You said it's a small classroom, so I know you don't remember the school, but was it a smaller school? It wasn't like one of those big...
No, it was a big school, but he was the only person teaching this specific class.
It was a very niche class that people took.
So he is the specific person who introduced this kind of topic to the school. Okay. No one else was teaching it, I see. So he's kind of the one who introduced this kind of course or level of thinking.
Gotcha. Okay.
Science. And then like I said, on the flip side, you have Robert Downey Jr. And his character, he played Louis Strauss. He did a good performance, by the way. And he himself said it's probably one of the best films he's ever done. Okay. And I'm like, are you sure? Have you seen Avengers? you don't remember doing Endgame?
He is him, bro. He's Iron Man.
That's what I'm saying. You don't remember doing that movie?
I am Iron Man.
No, but good for him. He did a good job, good role.
Yeah, that's dope.
I hope he wins something for it.
Really? Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, I really liked it. But however, it did drag towards the end, because they're trying to build up this parallel between the two characters, and there's this weird tension between Robert Downey Jr.'s character and Cillian Murphy's character, where I don't want to spoil the movie. I know it's kind of been out for a while, but there's this tension between both of them, and it's kind of like a political tension where Robert Downey Jr. is trying to kind of expose Cillian Murphy and Robert Oppenheimer and his identity, and at the time, is he a communist? Is he actually a threat to America? Is he actually a hero? Do people should people see him as a hero? There's this weird backstory to it.
Okay. Did it feel out of place in the movie?
At first, yes, because the way it opens, it kind of throws you into the loop, and I'm like, what is going on? You get introduced to all these generals, all these different political figures, and I'm sitting there who are these people? Okay. You know what I'm saying? But towards the end of the movie, it all clicks. Okay. It all clicks, and then there's flashbacks to things that were said that didn't make sense that now make sense and connects. Albert Einstein's in the movie.
Yeah,
he looked phenomenal. He looked like Albert Einstein, and it was fun to see him interact with Oppenheimer. Because everyone knows Albert Einstein, being this famous scientist,
right?
And he did have part in the whole process of this bomb.
Interesting. Okay.
So would you like the movie? I feel like you would like it for just the sheer experience of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it gets very political, and especially towards the end. This is what I wanted to touch up on. Something I didn't personally like too much. After the explosion of the bomb and that whole storyline is set, you see like the PTSD that Oppenheimer faces, kind of the repercussions mentally.
Okay.
After they launched the bomb, and he realizes like the destruction that he caused and how he changed the world forever. Yeah. Like now that he made this bomb, the world's completely changed. And the whole thinking is like the second they press this button, it'll never be pressed in history. Otherwise, because if they do press this button in history again, the whole world will end. Basically, everyone's launching nukes. Yeah. So not a good thing.
Yeah.
After that storyline ends, then you kind of end it with Robert Downey Jr.'s storyline. Yeah. And it's all politics about him trying to get like a seat in the cabinet for the government and how he's going up against Oppenheimer and trying to showcase again, like I mentioned, how he's kind of a threat to America. They shouldn't clear his like security access for him to actually be part of the government in different projects. So
it sounds like a lot was going on.
A lot is going on.
I know there's a big cast, and obviously it's a Christopher Nolan film. So like you're gonna have a big cast. Yeah, it's a grand film. Yeah,
Yep.
Epic. It's one of those epics. 100%
for
sure. I heard that it did not have like a ton of almost no humor in it. Was that true?
There's some humor. There's nerdy humor for sure.
Okay.
There's also humor in the fact that like some of the I don't know how do I explain it. There is very little humor.
Gotcha.
It is a very serious movie. But there are parts where you laugh. I think
it's hard to have humor in a movie with such a sensitive subject like that.
Right.
I was just curious though, because just when I go to the movies, I guess.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna sit down for a 3-hour movie, I need to know that I'm gonna laugh a little bit, bro. Like I can't go.
Yeah, that's valid.
You know what I mean?
I will admit.
I think I'm sure people were like, oh, he didn't see Oppenheimer. Yeah. Like I'm like, and he's a film major.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't. Like I wasn't. I'll wait for a stream, honestly. Like
fair.
On that one.
I mean, honestly,
that's just me. That's just my taste. Totally my taste. Though.
No. I get it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a completely different experience on streaming compared to in theaters.
Yeah. And obviously there was the IMAX release of it, which did you see it in IMAX?
Not like true IMAX.
Okay.
But like digital IMAX.
Okay, I see. So there was like the whole release of just like it's a beautiful film, obviously, and like
the score's crazy.
Yeah.
The soundscape's crazy. Just the actual experience, like. I'm not gonna lie, like leading up to the bomb, it progressively, every single minute, you get more anxious. There's more tension. So it does lead up to something that's gonna happen. So you constantly have that, like, you feel it. You feel that like sensation.
Okay. That would definitely keep me going.
Yeah, and that's what keeps you like enticed. I felt my heartbeat like going. Okay. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
I could see that for sure. And then you said after the bomb explodes, do you feel like it dragged a little bit after the bomb exploded?
Yes. Just because, again, the film's not about the bomb. It's about his life. So I understand thematically, logically, where they go, the direction it took. I honestly could have done without Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Which is crazy. Because you liked his performance a lot. I did like
his performance.
But it does sound like it was a little out of place, maybe. Not out of place, but maybe just like a little too much.
Maybe it was a little too much because I got what I needed after the whole bomb explosion, personally. If they wanted to end it there and then kind of showcase again his PTSD and how he lived life after, without Robert Downey Jr., I would have been happy. Okay, the movie could have been maybe another 45 minutes, like shorter.
That's quite a bit.
It is quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I understand why they did what they did and the route they took with his character. There is parallels to it, and you see it. Again, once you watch it, you'll understand. I'm sure the people that watched it. And I have been seeing a lot of opinions as to why people didn't like it, and it was for that specific reason, kind of the ending. And another thing people didn't like is the actual explosion itself.
Really?
Because it leads up to this huge grand thing, and you do see the explosion and whatnot, but might have been lackluster in a lot of people's eyes.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. So once you see it, I'm sure you'll have your own take. And
yeah, I definitely am curious to see it. I do want to see it. but I did not see it in theater. Yeah. So I did miss out when it came to that. But again, it is kind of hard for me to bring myself to see a 3-hour movie where I'm like probably just gonna be like, oh man, this is a lot, and just kind of like dread, you know. Probably was there a sense of dread in the theater?
There was moments where everyone's quiet and I'm like, man, like this is actually this is sad, dude,
for sure,
seriously. But something that should be highlighted is the cast. Crazy on the cast. Like I got it pulled up right now. Like obviously Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Robert Downey Jr., you have Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, bro, you have Rami Malek, who played in Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury. You have Josh Peck from Drake and Josh. Like you have all these people. You had Roderick from the Diary of the Wimpy Kid.
Legendary.
Like, you just a crazy cast. Like you had so many people on here that like, the cool thing about watching this in theaters is like seeing these people and pointing it out like, oh dude, that's that guy, or that's this guy, like that guy's in this movie, or it was a good collaboration. And
that was fun.
Although it seems a little random with the specific people they picked, I think it made it good.
Yeah, I mean, if you got that kind of budget where you can kind of, you know, throw the money around to get like these big name actors for these smaller roles, just for the fact that like it's a cameo kind of thing, why not do it?
Yeah, why not?
So,
and it was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it would enhance the experience for me too.
Dude, seeing Josh Peck like going to push a button or like working on
was he the one pushing the button? He did not push the button. Oh my god!
I shouldn't have spoiled it for you.
That's insane. I don't even want to go into that. That's funny.
He pushed the button.
That's crazy. I'm like a little lost for words on that one, because like the fact that Christopher Nolan gave Josh Peck
the role of
the button pusher,
and he's looking at Oppenheimer like, now, and Oppenheimer like,
oh my god,
and Josh Peck's in there like thinking like Megan and Drake are behind this or something.
Megan.
So it was funny. There's humor like that where I was laughing because it wasn't an intentional laugh, but it's funny in that way. I see what you mean now. So I'm saying like, what is going on? So,
wow, dude, that's funny. I'm really glad you told me that. Actually.
Yeah, it was a good time. But I didn't watch Barbie, something I did want to watch.
Yeah.
How was the experience?
Yeah, me and Mackenzie went and saw it. Mm-hmm. We were a little later to watching it, but we saw it with a decently good sized audience still. Okay. And so yeah, there was a lot of hype around like Barbie and Oppenheimer,
1000%.
And just as much for Barbie as Oppenheimer, and probably I think Barbie beat Oppenheimer a little bit. I mean, it's more of a, you know, family friendly film that maybe a little more people are into. But
let me look this up.
It was a really good film. It was by Greta Gerwig, I believe.
Okay,
I should have looked this up while you were talking, but. So it starts with Barbie, played by Margot Robbie. Okay. And she does an amazing job as Barbie. Like, you would think that, like, you know, she's supposed to be this character that's like the stereotypical Barbie. Like, they have all these Barbie characters. Like, they have, like, volleyball Barbie or, you know, tennis Barbie or, like, accountant Barbie. You know, they have all these, like, different people playing these different Barbies. And Margot Robbie plays who is the stereotypical Barbie, like the original.
So all these other Barbies are different actresses, different. Okay.
Yeah. And then you have Ryan Gosling as Ken, who,
of course,
I mean, that's a great duo to put onto the screen. I think I really love Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling brings humor every time. I think he's super funny. And Michael Cera plays this character named Alan, who's like
Michael Cera's in the movie.
He's in the movie too. Who plays like. His name's Alan, and he's like Ken's best friend in like the lore of Barbie, but like he's kind of like this misfit in the world. Yeah. So it really does open up on this Barbie world where you meet all these Barbies and all these Kens. There's a bunch of different Kens too. You know, same like soccer Ken. Yeah. Same kind of thing.
Makes sense.
So it's this whole Barbie world, and it's like everything's so like, you know, lollipops and rainbows. You know, it's like, oh, let's have a party at Barbie's place. Like we're gonna party at Barbie's place tonight. Oh, what are we doing tomorrow? Same thing. Like it's kind of like that. Okay. And they kind of have this idea that they're like these people that have put this like amazing, I guess, stamp on Earth. It's like there's Barbie world and there's Earth, and they know they have like this influence on Earth, and they think that they've like just kind of like completely smoothed over anything having to do with like feminism and everything on Earth, you know? But then Barbie gets transported, or she goes on a trip to Earth because Ken takes over. Or wait, how did Mackenzie? Why do they go to Earth in the first place? Oh, yeah, she starts to get actual feelings. She starts to have like these thoughts of like, have you guys ever thought about dying? Like there was a scene where like they're just like randomly partying, and she's like, do you guys ever think about dying? And like everyone stops her, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, nothing. Like, so she starts to get these weird intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of like.
What's that due to though? Or they don't really explain?
Well, so they do kind of explain. So that kind of like, thank you, Mackenzie, for pointing that out. So that kind of pushes them into going to Earth, because she finds out when she goes to Earth, and Ken comes along for the ride because he's like her like kind of puppy dog kind of guy, I guess, you know what I mean? Like he's like the guy that's like I don't know, he's just like, oh, Barbie, like I want to be with you, like please, Barbie, like he's like on his hands and knees begging all the time, and it's like it was a funny portrayal for sure. So they go to the real world, and Barbie realizes that not everything is how it seems, like how they think it is from Barbie land. They think everything, like feminism is solved. They think everything is all good over here. They think, you know, and they think that the Barbies are a big influence of why that is. But when Barbie sees that that's not the case, she's like, oh crap, like this isn't like, she starts to get like, she realizes things, you know. But when Ken is in the real world, he's like, oh, this is so dope. Like men are taking over here. Like, men got it good over here. Yeah. So it's kind of, it definitely has a very like, you know, prominent message in the film.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Sure. Yeah,
for sure. And I think it is a good message. And I think it all comes full circle in the end. Cause like, I don't want to spoil it too much. I don't want to get into the story because it's been out for a long time. I don't want to take too much time on it. Fair. But Ken basically like goes back to Barbie Land, and he's like revolting. Like all the Kens get together. They're like, we're going to take over Barbie Land. Like bros, dudes, you know, they're having beers. They're wearing cowboy hats for no reason. And they're just like just
a bunch of icks
wearing chaps and stuff, bro. That
sounds funny.
It's kind of fun. It definitely is a funny concept. And I think it's a good story of, you know, trying to solve feminism and just pushing this idea that like women don't need to be perfect, you know, they're like this image, you know, and it does have a really good story. And I think that it really all does come together.
So you're saying that this agenda, this like message that they had, it was transparent. It did show like
definitely. I would say more so I mean, it obviously is a Barbie movie, but that was definitely what was pushing in the film.
For sure.
And I think it's a good message for you know, younger girls and stuff. And definitely, obviously, but what I had a problem with, I think, not a problem with, but what I was expecting was to be laughing like a ton in the movie. And honestly, I wasn't like laughing out loud. Like I was laughing out loud a little bit, but it wasn't like belly laughing, you know?
I see.
It was like chuckles here and there. But when I heard a Barbie movie with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were coming out, I was expecting to laugh a lot, and I didn't laugh like a ton.
Yeah.
That being said, it was a solid movie though.
It was?
Yeah.
Was it a longer movie?
It wasn't too long. It was like less than 2 hours, and it's by Greta Gerwig, who did a great job. She definitely took it a direction that I think made it like a film that people would talk about more, honestly.
I see.
Yeah.
See, it's crazy because I didn't watch Barbie, right? And I honestly didn't even know that kind of this whole feminism topic was actually introduced into the film and was a big prominent role. It wasn't until like one of my coworkers actually mentioned it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go watch this movie because of this and that." I'm like, "Whoa, what?" I started seeing a bunch of controversy on the film. I don't know if you saw any controversy, especially on like Twitter and stuff. Social
that
media.
People were kind of not wanting to watch it because of the message being pushed.
Exactly. They're like boycotting it or like going against the film.
Yeah, which is kind of ridiculous to me to like because like every movie has a message.
Sure.
Like there's always like you start one place and then there's a journey to become something else. So
for sure.
There's always growth and a message, but it's kind of, there was a prominent message for sure. And you knew what it was, and they weren't shy about it by any means.
No, for sure.
And I just think it's hard to put myself obviously in the shoes of any but if I was a younger like girl going to a Barbie movie, I would have been like maybe a little confused. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just my take on it.
Okay,
but
fair.
I think it's a good movie. It is a good movie. I just expected to be laughing a little bit more.
Yeah, the fact that it wasn't that funny, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So wait, would you like a must watch? Probably not a must watch. Maybe check it out.
I think people should check it out.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a movie worth checking out. Okay. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good movie. But I think my fault maybe for having some kind of expectations going into it. And it didn't hit but it was good. And Will Ferrell honestly was pretty funny.
Will Ferrell's in the movie?
Yeah, he's like the
Mattel,
like CEO in the movie. And he's like chasing Barbie around for like no reason really.
Wait, okay, so here's my question. Okay. So you said there's a Barbie world obviously and then there's Earth?
Yeah.
Like are they two different planets or
yeah, they're like two different planets and she literally just takes like the road out of Barbie land and then just like ends up in Earth somehow. I don't know how she got there.
So all of Earth knows that there's a Barbie land.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be. I don't think so. No.
But all of Barbie world knows that there's Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no one from Earth can go to Barbie land?
No.
Interesting.
People from Earth can go to Barbie land? Oh, yeah. I guess.
Mattel.
Yeah. Will Ferrell did go to Barbie land.
So my question is, how is he conscious on, of the fact that there is a Barbie world?
Well, because he created
Mattel.
So like,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because he tries to teleport Barbie back to Barbie land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It kind of has. Yeah, it's a different movie, bro. The sets were amazing, though.
Were they?
The sets were amazing. The Barbie sets, they were.
Was there music?
There was music, and it definitely matched the theme for sure. It was fun to watch, like visually, very fun to watch. There was a funny, like random music number by all the Kens. Broke out into dance, and it was random, but it was funny. I thought it was kind of funny. So,
valid.
Yeah, I don't know. The Barbenheimer. The Barbenheimer duo, did it live up to the expectations?
I don't know. I'm curious because if I did watch these two films, let's say back to back, I feel like my whole day would have been ruined. Yeah, I'd have two different sets of emotions.
That's how I feel too.
I would be just clocked.
I would have had to see Oppenheimer first and then Barbie. I think.
I don't know. I would have probably preferred to watch Barbie first.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, in this fantasy world, and then I go to Oppenheimer. I'm like, wait a minute.
Brings you back to the real world.
Hold on, yeah.
See, I'd rather be brought super deep into the real world where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did this.
Yeah.
And then go to Barbie Land like, it's all good. Something that came out that I was honestly really excited for after we did the trailer reaction was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Dude, it was just a fun experience in theaters.
It really honestly. Was, yeah.
And going into it, I had the feeling from the trailer that we watched it was gonna be funny, but dude, honestly, I didn't expect it to be that funny.
Yeah, me too. Right? Yeah.
And a lot of the comedy honestly comes from the people who played the turtles. I mean, shout out to Leo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, like dude, them being actual teenagers added so much like personality. And there's like, they said it themselves, like they would let these teenagers just kind of improvise. They would let the dialogue go on and let them do what they wanted. And dude, it was so good.
Yeah. A big thing was that Seth Rogen wanted for them was to have them all in the same room recording at the same time. So that I think definitely came through in the movie because you heard this banter that like is very like quippy, like quick stuff that you wouldn't usually like necessarily hear scripted.
Yep.
And that only comes when you have them in the same room, like bantering off of each other. And it's kind of crazy to me that the go-to method is that they usually record stuff separately. And then, like they don't even see each other.
I wonder why, because you make a great point. That adds a different like level of dynamic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
More genuine.
Sure. Definitely. Absolutely. Like it totally came through in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Like you can tell that like they were in the same room together, just like joking with each other. And then I guess, the animators animate to that after the fact, which is also impressive, but it was a good movie. It was, I was excited to see it. And it honestly was a little bit like better than I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same with me. After watching the trailer, obviously we were hyped. One of the main reasons I was super hyped, there's two reasons. One is because it reminded me of the style of like the Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, right? With the animation style and the choppy feel and whatnot.
For sure. Yeah.
Which they did come out and say that's what they grabbed inspiration from. The second reason I was excited was because of the big cast, right? Like reading them off, obviously Seth Rogen, Jackie Chan, John Cena. We had Ice Cube, Post Malone, Paul Rudd. Like, dude, the cast was insane,
stacked,
and I like how the main cast was kind of villains to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was funny seeing like Ice Cube lead all these crazy names into like their own little bandit gang and kind of, you know, causing problems. And
I thought Paul Rudd as Gecko, Mondo Gecko, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was hilarious to me. I would have never thought that was Paul Rudd, bro. He was acting all you could hear it at some point, but he was acting all crazy at first. And it was so funny to me thinking about that being Paul Rudd for some reason.
I love the joke where like Ice Cube tells Paul Rudd or Mondo Gecko like, all right, you're driving on this one, and they ask him, hey, you good to drive? And he's like, no. Oh, dude. Me and the homie, shout out the boy Ben, man. We were dying the whole way through, bro. And it was stupid because, like, obviously we went, there's kids, right? It had to be like 10 through, let's say 15. Or if you're 24, bro, we were the loudest ones in the theater just dying. Like, the humor in this film was so funny.
Yeah, it hit, dude. It was good all around. Like, it really was a fun experience for sure.
Absolutely. What'd you think of, like, the overall story? Like, you know, Jackie Chan and like, you know, he guides these kids, right? These turtles that mutated from the same kind of residue that came from Superfly, Ice Cube's character.
Ooze,
that's right. That is the ooze, right? And so Jackie Chan being a normal, you know, rat that he was, which was funny the way they animated him when he was younger with like kind of the curls, and he was just funny looking. But
yeah, he had like a perm, right?
He had like a perm, like a 70s style perm. It was funny.
Yeah, it was a good like a portrayal of Splinter.
Oh,
or I'm sorry, that's his name, right?
Yeah, Splinter.
Sorry, yeah, Splinter. Yeah, that was I don't feel like I had seen a portrayal like that of Splinter before.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Because he was really a dad.
Yeah.
Like, it was like a dad. Aside from like a sensei master role, he definitely played a dad role.
For sure.
And I really liked that.
I did too.
But yeah, overall thoughts on the story?
I thought it was a cool, like, it was a really like touching story, actually. I think that's what I wasn't really expecting going into it, that it was going to be like such, you know, like all the turtles, they kind of feel like they're against the world is against them, you know?
Yeah, I did feel that way. Yeah.
Like, they just want to be accepted, and they're afraid of not being accepted. So, and they're teenagers, they're kids, and they're going through this. So it really was a touching story that had like some, you know, meat to it for sure. And like it was good, dude. I really liked it. Did you notice how the humans were animated in it?
Yeah, it kind of gross looking, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's something that kind of it didn't throw me off, but I definitely noticed. I was like, dude, why are they animated like that?
It almost kind of threw me off at first. I was like, I felt like the aspect ratio was stretched at first, but I think it was intentional, right? It was to show like the bad and kind of the bad and the good. Yeah. Like, not to say that all the humans were bad, but like, the ones that were bad were animated nasty.
Dude, oh my god, yeah, some of the faces, the way they were stretched, and it just looked so unnatural.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did notice that.
I like that detail. I think it was a good touch.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall, like, so Seth Rogen, did he direct this?
I think he did. This is one of his films.
Okay.
And I think he might have also have producing credits on it.
Okay, he did a good job, man. Like, it seems like this was kind of like his baby, you know? Like,
it seemed like it.
Like, he definitely had, you know, a lot of hands in all the creative processes. And go ahead.
Sorry, so Jeff Rowe, director.
Okay, Jeff Rowe.
But he's he did the story.
Yeah.
Okay. And he produced it.
Yeah.
And he starred in it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he had definitely a big hand in it, and I think it was awesome, dude. I really liked it. I honestly really liked it. And I think Ice Cube was really funny as a Superfly.
He was badass. I really liked Ice Cube. I liked kind of the threat he posed. I like how they find out that they're family, right? Because they come from the same ooze and stuff. Yeah. So it's like, all right, cousin. Like, all right, we from the same pot.
Right.
So I liked the interaction that they had with Ice Cube. And I liked most of the characters. I just wish there was more I wish like Post Malone and John Cena had like kind of a bigger voice. They didn't really they were there, they were part of the group, obviously.
Same with Seth Rogen kind of too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
that's true.
But he was doing a lot. He was busy.
That's true.
Yeah,
they were more so secondary, but I wish they had like a bigger presence. But I did like, you know, that touch that they were there. You know, yeah, I loved the dynamic between the brothers. Like you said, it was like a very like heartwarming kind of film. Like, you definitely felt as like it was definitely a clear message of like family, and Yeah, I just like the dynamic between them. I think, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think it's a really good film. I think they did a really good job on it.
Yeah, and I like the way it's animated. Going back to the animation, I think it was really solid.
I do too.
And
it's nice to see studios kind of doing those, like, not necessarily the Spider-Verse style, I guess, but trying to take animation in a new direction instead of like the kind of cookie cutter animation we see.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that it was pleasing to look at. You know, who was the best turtle?
Who was the best turtle? Oh man, it was a different rendition of Raphael that I've never seen before.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Yeah, he was like a big, like
he was bulky, a big turtle,
body,
big boy.
Big body kind of guy that just like running into crap. Really, like he just like throwing his body out there and like getting hurt, kind of. So it was I thought he was the rendition that I've never seen that rendition.
No, that's Raphael. A fair point. Yeah.
But I thought I really liked Mikey.
Mikey's a good one. I liked Mikey. I think for me personally, the best one was definitely Donnie.
Donnie was really good too.
Hilarious, bro.
He was the funniest. He totally was the funniest. He totally was the funniest.
He was, bro. Yeah. Remember the whole bacon, egg, and cheese scene? Like, yeah, that was so funny to me. And just the way he acted was definitely modern day teenager.
For sure.
Like more so than the other.
For sure.
Like he was definitely into the whole social media. He was into like all the technology and gadgets, and he just reminds me of my younger sister. Like it's just I'm sitting there like, oh my God, dude. That's like funny. I hate to admit that my sister's funny, but like Donnie is hilarious, bro. So he's definitely for me the funniest and the best turtle. Dude.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree. He was the funniest. He was for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, I think you got to go watch it. For those of you who have not seen it, I think it's a must watch. It would just be fun to throw on and just hang out and watch.
Yeah, show your kids for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And if you don't have kids,
just watch it yourself.
Just watch it.
Feel like a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, going into some good wrap up on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Going into something else I saw. Did you see this movie I'm about to talk about?
Which one is it?
It's Talk to Me.
No, I have not. So talk to me because I haven't. I know about it. And I know the two, they're brothers, right? The people who made this film, A24. I know they were YouTubers prior to actually making this film.
They were, yeah.
So I know the journey it took for them to actually make something insane.
Absolutely.
Right? So they were YouTubers to begin with.
Yeah, totally. Rocka Rocka.
Correct. Yep.
Yep. And they were, I grew up on them. They were like one of the first YouTube channels I ever watched was Rocka Rocka because they just have some of the craziest like stunts in their films. They had like really crazy production value for YouTube at the time.
Yeah.
Like they were breaking through walls. They had fire going. They were exploding stuff. Like they had production value for like YouTube at the time for sure. Yeah. So they were kind of ahead of their time. And they've been grinding. They just keep making videos. They've just been honing their skills and their storytelling. And I mean, they've been quiet on YouTube, and I kind of thought they, kind of disappeared a little bit, but they were busy and they were making an amazing horror movie. I gotta say, bro. And Talk to Me was good, bro. It was so good. Like, so me, Mackenzie, and Carter went and saw it.
Okay. Shout out
to everyone,
everybody.
But we went and saw it, and I was honestly a little nervous going to see it because it had been hyped up as like this really like pretty just disturbing film. It's really disturbing. It's really really scary film.
And I know you're really into A24. So you already had that expectation of this being an A24 film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And more so I was just like, it's Danny and Michael are the brothers, the twins.
Yeah.
And they just have the funniest like dynamic when it comes to just interviews and stuff. They're very like off each other. Like they just got this crazy energy, bro. So I can only imagine what the set must have been like.
Probably crazy.
It must have been crazy.
Energetic.
But the fact that they can channel that energy that they have and into organizing and like putting people where they need and making this film that they did is just awesome to me, and it's so inspiring. Like, so shout out those guys.
So shout out to them. I'm just like curious as how they came into contact with A24 and how all this came to be. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so they were doing a festival run, and I think A24 saw it and picked it up and started distributing it.
I see. Okay.
So they had made the film and then it got picked up to get distributed by A24.
Dope.
Yeah, dude.
That's dope.
It's super dope. Sick. It's awesome. Their film got funded. They're Australian.
Yeah.
So their film got funded by just like an Australian film.
Yeah.
They have. I think they have better like pots of money for you know, I don't know. It was something like that where it was a fund kind of thing for filmmakers.
Yeah.
And they had submitted their script and story and they were approved to have it be made. Mm-hmm. And they killed it, dude. They absolutely killed it. It has like a lot of these like things from horror movies that you see a lot that kind of, I guess, I don't want to say cliche, but kind of cliche, like stuff you would expect in a horror movie.
Like what?
So like possession, there's possession. Mm-hmm. So how the story goes is there's this hand and, it's like an artifact. Yeah. It's a hand that you just shake it and you're like, talk to me. And then you just get like possessed from it. Yeah. So it's this artifact that these teenagers have. These teenagers picked it up somehow. They got it through someone, but they kind of treat it like a drug. It's like they kind of like, they bring it to parties. Okay. They bring groups together. They're like,
you want to do some hand?
Yeah, exactly. yeah. And they invite freaking spirits into their body as their freaking, you know, their drug. So
yeah.
So that is like, they would get together. They'd be like, hey, we have the hand. You guys want to do, you know, you guys want to talk to me tonight?
Yeah. Okay.
You guys want to play talk to me tonight?
That's crazy.
No, it wasn't like that. But it was kind of like that. It wasn't, I'm making it sound cheesy. It wasn't. It was really like the way it unfolded, because that sounds cliche, it sounds cheesy, but they didn't. It was like there was this one party scene where they bring the hand and there's just this music going in the background. And the way it like cuts to them all having this like good time, like getting possessed, is just so like, you've never seen anything like it. You've never seen a possession scene done like that. You know what I mean? So they just were really creative in the way they told it. And, I just gotta say it all like unfolds, and I don't want to spoil it because I really want people to see it. I think if you're a horror movie fan, you should see this movie for sure. And it just unfolds and comes to this perfect like bow at the end. Like it's like that. It's that punch that so many horror movies try to hit. They're like to wrap up their movie. You're like, this would be the perfect ending. To me, this was like the perfect ending.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was like a perfect ending to this movie. And
interesting.
So it just. And it was disturbing and it was scary. And they just did a good job. I heard they're the type, they're like I said, they're kind of like, they got a lot of crazy energy and stuff like that.
They're a little quirky.
Yeah, they're
for sure.
Yeah, they're fun guys for sure. So I heard they like would write scenes and then they'd like go really far and be like, oh, we got to kind of take it back. Like they'd write too far and then like kind of tone it back.
Yeah.
And that's where they kind of made the sweet spot of a movie. And dude, yeah, I just really got to shout out Raka, Danny, and Michael. I hope I don't butcher their name, but I believe it's Filippo.
Okay.
And dude, they made an awesome movie, and I think they really set something in motion for YouTubers, a goal that YouTubers can really like see now. Like I don't feel like that path was there to be a feature film made as a YouTuber.
Yeah,
I feel like they've really put into motion what you can accomplish just honing your craft, making what you want, and then translating it into something that can also be very profitable and make you a lot of money and make a theater run.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's good that you mentioned that, like, you know, because obviously I feel like there's a stigma when it comes to being a YouTuber or a content creator. I feel like sometimes you don't get taken seriously, right? Especially not to the point where you actually make a feature film like this one and it does amazing, right? And it's cool. I mean, like, I've seen different podcasts where they actually do go on interviews, like for example, like Impossible, let's say. I don't know if you know, like Logan Paul and Mike and all them, like they had them on and they were definitely talking about like having the experience of being a YouTuber, honing your craft, and like you mentioned, like getting to the point where you make something spectacular. Like you shouldn't be scared just because you are a content creator or you're a YouTuber. Like, you know, you're professional at what you do, you are creative, and then you just hone your craft and then get to the point where you just make a project that it kind of encapsulates what you've been doing, kind of.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So the fact that they were able to pull it off, like I definitely got to watch it. Like the fact that I haven't seen it, it sucks.
No, I'm sad. It's all right. Spooky time's coming up.
Exactly. So I definitely gotta buy it and watch it. But where would you rank this? Let's take scary films from the past year, maybe year and a half, right? Where does this one land? Because I don't know if we've had the best run for horror films recently within the past year.
I would say in the last 3 to 5 years. I mean, I can't think of when Hereditary came out, but I would say since Hereditary is my favorite horror movie that I've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because we have films that we watch like Barbarian or like The Menu, which is a good horror film.
That was good. Yeah.
Like I mean, Smile. I mean, I know like there's pieces that were bright in there and that were was good.
Yeah.
So
no, it was a solid movie.
Solid.
We had our quips with it, but yeah, it was solid. But yeah, I would say Talk to Me. Talk to Me is that one that you should, if in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
My top two, Hereditary, Talk to Me, and I'll throw Malignant in there too. You should people should go see that.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. People are gonna come at me for that, but I don't care.
Why is that a hot take?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a hot take. It's not
people think it's trash.
It's not for everyone, but I think the ending is just worth watching. Worth the price of admission, honestly.
Interesting.
But yeah, dude,
that's good. Talk to Me. Okay, yeah, definitely convinced me.
Yeah, good.
So you must watch.
For sure.
That's good, man. I know. There's other blockbusters that came out. Not really talked about as much. Like I don't know, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, a little flop.
Did you what?
Flopping happen.
Yeah,
flopping happening.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And it's like a part one, right? Isn't it supposed to be like a two-parter?
Yeah.
What was it even called?
I couldn't tell you to be honest, but we did go see it. Me and Mackenzie went and saw it. Mission Impossible. What number is it? Like, I can't even tell you.
So is it what? Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Okay. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yeah, we went and saw it, and it was, I like the Mission Impossible movies. I think they are solid action spy movies. I think they do a good job, and I think they're fun. And I thought this one was more of the same. Honestly, I will go see the Mission Impossible movies. I think they do some cool, honestly, the Tom Cruise stunts are honestly kind of sell me sometimes to just go see.
And he does his own stunts.
Yeah. And
he's how old? Like, dude, this dude.
Yeah, like, he's getting up there. So it's like
he's 61. There's no way he's 61. Hold on.
Is that true? Because he literally yeeted a motorcycle off of the.
Born July 3rd, 1962.
He's 61.
He is 61 years old.
Yeah. Wow. Dude, he literally yeeted himself off a mountain on a motorcycle like 6 times. That's like once for every decade he's being alive.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, the fact that that reminds me of like the Harrison Ford age. Like that's actually insane.
Right? Yeah. Kind of the stunt man kind of guy.
But
so yeah, they are worth going to meet for me. I do like seeing stunts. Like I think stunts are dope. So, and the story. So there's been 3 movies this year that have had a storyline where there was a piece of a treasure missing and they had to go get another half of the freaking treasure.
Okay.
So
Transformers.
Yeah.
This one, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one?
Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So there's been 3 movies and I feel like I watched them all like back to back to back. And I will say Mission Impossible is the best one out of the 3.
The one that's done it the best.
Yes. 100%.
But is it even that good to begin? Like
it is good.
It is good.
Okay, it is good. I really will say it is good. I don't think it deserved a flop. It shouldn't flop.
So I was going to ask you, why do you think it?
I don't know. Maybe something else came out during that time that was gaining more attention.
Maybe. I see IMDb's giving it a 7.9. Rotten Tomatoes give it a 96. Huh.
I really did. I thought it was solid, and it was a part 1. And I got to shout out this because Mackenzie definitely wanted me to mention it. That the train scene at the end, there's this train scene.
Okay, so I've been seeing. So I saw things about that.
Okay,
yeah, talk to me about that.
It's pretty ridiculous, bro. It's a really good scene. It's really fun, and there's just like it's at the spoilers. It's at the very end, but there's this train scene where like this train is coming off this cliff, and they're like. So each cart is falling off of the cliff, like one by one. I
can kind of picture it.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like in the middle somewhere of the railroad, it got exploded, and like you know. So they're falling off one by one, and like they're just trying to run like to each cart as it's falling, but like it's pretty intense because like the cart is dangling off of the side of the rail track, and they're like dangling with it. Like it's a pretty crazy. Like it's good. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it, honestly. I thought that was pretty fun. But it was, I think the funniest part about it is it was ridiculously long.
Yeah. Right.
Like they were running from one cart and it happened like 3 times. You're like, okay, they're safe. And it probably happened like 3 or 4 more times where they just kept running. And it was like drawn out sequences. It wasn't like, oh, we're safe. Like they were like drawn out sequences in each cart. So it was just a funny tidbit that I wanted to say that I thought they did a good job with that scene. And it was fun. I enjoyed watching it. It was pretty high intensity to me.
Yeah. Okay, so, fair. Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember the last time I watched a Mission Impossible film.
Yeah.
Like it's probably been a while. And there's like how many now? 6, 7 maybe. I can't. Yeah. This was the eighth one. Okay, so yeah, like I know we talked about this last episode with the whole like, people not being as creative anymore with what they're coming out with. I feel like the reason I didn't go watch this one is because I knew like, okay, another Mission Impossible. Like, come on.
I do. Come on. I kind of had that idea too, and that's been the case with a lot of movies. Like we said the last time, I think that there's been a lot of like remakes and stuff. But I think this one is the better of the crop. Like of the movies that have come out. This is one of the ones that's more worth watching, in my opinion. Okay.
One thing we talked about last episode was this interesting strike going on with the Writers Guild of America and like the different studios in Hollywood, right? And their concerns were basically the use of AI, residuals from like streaming services and stuff, and they basically came together to try to get actual compensation from these streaming services, and then just how AI is developing nowadays, like it's insane.
Definitely scaring everyone a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit with like jobs and like what could be the future and realistically what how are you going to apply AI, and obviously there's concerns and stuff. So like I said, last episode we were talking about this, and as of this month they actually reached like a tentative deal, right? And what does that look like?
So I went into the deals the details of it a little bit, and one of the biggest things, in my opinion, that came from this strike is that streaming services are going to have to start to release their numbers a little bit more, be a lot more transparent on their numbers, which makes sense, and that is definitely trackable. Like I was actually talking about it with my dad today. Like you could have like the numbers and the watch time that people are spending on these shows, like in particular, like you could definitely release that and see what is performing, what isn't performing, and pay your writers accordingly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you mentioning that, so I have an article pulled up from Forbes, Forbes.com, and it reads which is interesting, right? So a major step, as the writers had complained about the lack of transparency, as you were mentioning, from the streaming platforms. So on the residual front, on this deal that they actually agreed on, which will be voted on, the agreement includes a 50% bonus residual payment for writers if a show or film is viewed by 20% or more of the service's domestic subscribers within the first 90 days that it's released.
Okay.
Right. So if it reaches that specific benchmark, 20% or more, viewers in the first 90 days, then they'll get a 50% bonus on the residuals from the actual show.
I like that. Yeah. It should be. There should be a bonus for if something performs really well. The person that wrote it should,
That's what I'm saying. And it's because, like, before streaming services during traditional TV, right? Let's say a show aired. Like, let's take, I don't know what show, for example, Seinfeld. Sure, whatever. There'd be the residuals from that actual TV show that's broadcasted, and not only that, on reruns, they would also get residual income from that as well,
which was like trackable, and they would be transparent about those numbers on that. And I don't know why it would be any different or harder to track on a streaming service.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, it's definitely a great takeaway, I think, from this writer's strike that has happened, that this transparency needs to be had to, pay people accordingly.
And I mean, they kind of do have, they make a great point with not being paid and the whole AI thing. Like, so check this out on the same article, right? I found interesting as well. The details in this whole deal, it details that, so in terms of AI, it bars the use of AI for writing or rewriting literary material and forbids studios from enforcing it. A studio can't go and tell writers, you need to use AI to make this film or TV show, which I was trying to think of why a studio would even do that to begin with, like use AI, and maybe it's to whip out content quicker.
I see. So some studios are instilling on their writers, hey, use AI for the reason that they need content faster.
It could be the case, yes.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. Like, why would a studio go and push AI to the writers?
And then would that differentiate what they make, what that writer makes? Is that
like in pay?
Yeah. Is that in the details of the?
Well, so going back to this article, so like it reads, so they bar the use of AI, so they can't use AI for writing or rewriting material, and it forbids studios from enforcing it, right? However, the deal states that writers can choose to use AI to aid their writing process.
Okay.
Upon receiving consent from that studio.
I see.
So the writer can go up to the studio, let's say Universal, hey, is there any way I could use AI to help me? You know, I'm not going to, let's say like, you know, you're not going to use it to write the whole script or something, but hey, can I use it for ideas? They need approval.
I see. So that kind of makes me think that, yeah, there's definitely different conversations going on behind the scenes, because there is like the studio looking at the writer like, oh, this writer's using AI. We shouldn't be paying them as much. But at the same time, the writer, I see how the writer needs to disclose whether they're using AI or not, because it kind of takes away from their, you know, what they're being paid to do a little bit.
Absolutely. Let's say a writer just uses AI flat out completely to do the work, and here you go. Here's a script for this episode or this pilot or whatever.
I see that. What I'm saying? So like, there has to be transparency on both sides.
Both ends.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Which is, I think, something that they were willing to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you tell us what's going on, we'll tell you what's going on.
Okay.
And another thing about this is just straight up annual pay raises. So it's a 3-year contract, supposedly, that they got to vote on for this new deal. And they're going to be getting a 5% increase in pay. And then after that, a 4% increase in pay. And then after that, a last 3.5% increase in pay. So the first initial would be an immediate 5% raise in all of their contracts if this contract were to be ratified.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, so now there's more money involved, banning the use of AI unless, you know, consent to it, you know, upon approval, and then residuals from streaming services.
I don't have the article pulled up, but I heard that a part of this also was just some of the details was for every set number of episodes. So say you have a show that has 10 episodes, you have to hire a certain amount of writers for that show now.
Yeah.
So there has to be, say you have 10 episodes. I don't know the details. This is just an example. You have 10 episodes. You have to have at least 3 writers. Yeah. Or you have, you know, something that's 5 episodes, 6 episodes. Yeah. You have to at least have 2 writers. That's not the specific details, but I saw that is also a part of this agreement.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense too, right? Let's say you have a 24 episode show season. How many writers are you going to hire? I mean, there should be guidelines, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense as well. And I mean, this strike honestly took a while, right?
Yeah,
it's the beginning of May. They've been in strike, and so this is interesting. The president of the WGA West, President Meredith Stein, I think it's how you pronounce her name. So she says that the strike was way too long because the companies took so long to get serious. She says, I feel sad and pained that it took this long because when we got serious, we got it done at a reasonable amount of time.
Right.
So the issue here was just the studios not thinking it's such a big deal.
Yeah. You know? Which is sad.
It is sad.
It kind of shows the mentality maybe a little bit that some studios may have, like big studios that they just, you know, they treat it's like an employee, you know, they treat them like an employee, you know, which they are, but they're the creatives, you know, they need their voice in this stuff for it to come out well. So they need to be treating them like equals for sure. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, so I'm glad there's, you know, movement with that again. You know, finally stuff will not be halted anymore. Like productions, for example, I know The Last of Us got halted because of this for the second season. Deadpool also, you know, got halted a little bit.
I remember.
So hopefully, obviously there might be pushbacks on release dates. Hopefully it's not too long. But at least something got figured out.
Yeah. It's good to see that something got figured out in this whole thing, and that is going in the right direction for writers and creatives in general.
Yeah. So get this controversy that I found so funny on this, right? There's controversy with Drew Barrymore. Did you hear the Drew Barrymore controversy with this whole Writers Guild
I did not.
strike? So Drew Barrymore decided to bring back her show without writers because of the strike.
Wow.
Thinking that was going to be a good idea.
Wow.
And then when the public flamed her, she backtracked and was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't think I was going to hurt anybody. Like, I'm like, bro, really?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's just that's a part of the problem, right? Like, we don't need them.
See what I mean? Like, yeah. So at that point, like, whatever. She backtracked. Obviously, she was like, I'm not gonna do that. But when she initially first stated that, everyone flamed her. Like, dude, what are you doing? Are you dumb? Like, this is the whole point. Like,
right.
Why we're doing this strike?
Yeah, that's a little oblivious moment. Maybe
it's a little embarrassing. If you ask me, but.
But that is funny though. Yeah.
It's a little bit funny. But yeah, to end the pod there, man. A lot of stuff that we talked about, a lot of good films and controversial films, and overall, so far what we've seen this year.
Yeah, like we said, there's been a ton of blockbusters, a lot of movies this year. We touched upon a lot of them. We missed a lot of them, but I think we hit a bunch of them. And I think I had a fun time with movies this year. More to come, obviously.
More to come. I'm excited for like Napoleon. That's gonna come out. Wonka, obviously.
Yeah.
There's this new Leonardo DiCaprio film coming out with Scorsese and Robert De Niro. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Real quick, just because I want to give a shout out.
Yeah. I think I saw the trailer for that recently. 3.5 hours long. 3.5 hours, man.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Coming out this year. I don't know what it's about.
Or anything?
Actually, let me click on it real quick. So, directed, produced by Martin Scorsese. Its plot centers on a series of Oklahoma murders in the nation during the 1920s.
Interesting. So a true story?
Yes. Okay. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, I was seeing like an ad for it. I'm like, I didn't know that was coming out. Another Leo film with Scorsese, dynamic duo.
There's a lot of things that people were not posting during this writer strike. For example, like Edgar Wright, Scott Pilgrim versus the World has an anime coming out.
Yep.
And so he once the strike ended, he's like, I've been waiting to post this promo during this. So like
I get it.
So like now we're probably gonna see like a lot of stuff that would have been promoted during this time to start to get promoted.
Good. Yeah. Good. Because I want to see more things.
Yeah, same.
I'm excited to see more things.
Me too.
So thank you guys again for clicking on this. Shout out to, where are we right now, real quick?
Be Real Productions. Shout out Be Real Productions. It's an awesome set here. We had a really good time filming here. And if you guys need a place to film in Arizona off of Power and Elliott, Be Real Productions is your spot, bro. Check it out.
We'll link them down below. So, again, shout out to Be Real for letting us be here. And thank you guys again for tuning in.
Yeah.
Listening to the things we got to say. And we'll be seeing you in episode 10. Double digits, baby.
Double digits. Can't wait.
All right, let's get it. See y'all later.
Peace out.